Folks, we're back on the W.A.D.E Concept presented by The Ring Magazine with breaking news. Let me hit the freaking thing. Breaking news in the boxing world as there are rumors, reports out from The Ring Magazine, from others, saying that Ryan Garcia is looking to make his return in 2026 to take on the WBC welterweight champion of the world, Marrio Barrios. And I have some questions, because a lot of stuff's floating around right now. Some things that are being said about what Ryan's next move is, some things about what Ryan's issues are, some ongoing, it seems like, issues between Ryan Garcia, Oscar De La Hoya, the potential of a Jake Paul fight because that one's in jeopardy, and we need to talk about it all. So, the breakdown, let's go. All right, so like I said, from The Ring Magazine earlier today, and Mike Coppinger, Ryan Garcia and Marrio Barrios are closing in on a deal for the WBC welterweight title fight in the first quarter of 2026, sources told Ring's Mike Coppinger. Officials from Ryan Garcia's promoter, Golden Boy, and PBC have been exchanging contracts per sources. Let's look at the full story here from Mike Coppinger. It's a couple of days ago now. Your boy has been traveling all over the place. We got to get back to work. Ryan Garcia and Marrio Barrios are closing on a deal for the WBC welterweight title fight in the first quarter of next year. Saw that last month, Garcia said he was interested in challenging Barrios for his 147-pound title. Barrios was held to a draw against the legendary Manny Pacquiao in July's title defense in Las Vegas. The fight was the 46-year-old Pacquiao's first in nearly 4 years after he came out of retirement. Garcia is one of boxing's top stars, but he's never won a world title, and this will be his first title challenge. He was stopped by Gervonta Davis in their 2023 super fight. Garcia was at a serious disadvantage in that matchup as he faced Davis at 135 pounds with a rehydration clause. Okay, so let's talk about this. Number one, Ryan Garcia is getting a title fight off of a loss to Rolly Romero this May in Times Square. That in its own right is controversial because it doesn't feel like Ryan Garcia is deserving of a title fight versus any champion in any weight class until he goes and gets a win back. But that being said, we did see him knock down Devin Haney multiple times. Even though the fight ended up being overturned to a no contest, he had his hand raised on that night. Were PEDs a major factor in that win? Were they not? I don't know if we'll ever get that answer. That's purely subjective, up to you viewers at home. But what I do know is Ryan's coming off a loss. And usually I wouldn't be pumped about a title fight for a guy coming off a loss. But in this scenario, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, Marrio Barrios might be the worst world champion in boxing right now. And I say that because he's coming off 2 draws back-to-back versus opponents he should not be drawing with as a world champion. Abel Ramos in the first one in Arlington, Texas on the undercard of Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. That was not a great fight for him. And then he has a majority draw versus 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao, who hadn't boxed in 4 years. That is not what a world champion, sitting world champion, should be doing. Those aren't the type of fights that you should be having draws in. Abel Ramos off 6 losses, and you have Pacquiao coming off 4 years removed from the sport. He has losses to Keith Thurman, lost to Gervonta Davis at 140. When we talk about world champions in the sport of boxing, they come in all shapes and sizes and skill levels. And for Marrio Barrios, he is holding one of the most prestigious belts in boxing, the WBC title. I don't know if it's befitting of some of the best at 147, the Brian Norman Jr.'s, the Devin Haney's. Boots Ennis is now gone from the division, but those guys are who I look at as the best at that weight class. I don't class Marrio Barrios in that same respect. I just don't. So if you were going to, and this is for sure, give a title shot to Ryan Garcia off a loss, which I don't think is necessarily right to do, there's no better guy to do it against than Marrio Barrios. Unless you wanted to give it to Rolly Romero because he's there and he beat Ryan Garcia and he deserves a big fight, I think. I just don't know what they have Rolly lined up for right now as far as what he's doing next. But when you look at this fight, it's purely because Ryan Garcia is a household name that he would get a fight like this. Nobody else off a loss would get that. And I like Ryan. I think Ryan Garcia has tons of talent. I think Rolly was a tougher fight than he anticipated and maybe trained for. I'm not going to give excuses to losing fights. Like, Rolly beat him that night. He was the better man. But I just think that this is not necessarily a warranted world title shot outside of the fact that Ryan is a household name. And a guy like Rolly probably should be in a better position to fight for the WBC belt or whatever. And then you could have the winner of that fight potentially fighting a Brian Norman Jr. or a Devin Haney. Now, what it looks like is going to happen with this, and these are just rumors, there's nothing confirmed yet, but this seems to be a way to potentially try to work back toward that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight. That's the way I'm looking at it, because you have Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., and by the way, I don't think that fight is just Devin Haney outboxes and destroys Brian Norman Jr. Something about that fight and the way that Brian Norman's talking, we're going to have interviews coming out, I think, either this week or next, probably this week. He is very confident, and it's not just in the left hook. You're seeing the feet work. You're seeing him in the gym looking very, very poised and ready for this fight. I just think that we may be in for a different fight than just Devin Haney outboxes him with the jab and moves his feet, and that's how he gets it done. Maybe that happens, but things could, I think, potentially work out a little differently. Let's keep an eye on that. Regardless, the only reason I can think of you put Ryan Garcia in this position is to hopefully have him beat Marrio Barrios. And again, I don't even mean this disrespectfully to Barrios, but that's the only thing that makes sense here. And then try to get him in there with hopefully Devin Haney, should he beat Brian Norman Jr. at 147. That would be one of the biggest fights in boxing. Once again, the rematch, the thing we all want to see, regardless of belts or any of that. But if you do have belts on the line for it, that makes it even bigger. So that's what you have. Now, there were some rumors before this news came out, before there were rumors of him fighting Marrio Barrios, because again, right now it's just rumor. We don't have any contracts signed. We don't have anything official. And I think, by the way, I could be wrong about this, and things may change, but I'm pretty sure Mauricio Suleiman said that Ryan Garcia was never going to fight for a WBC title again. I don't know if that's changed now. I mean, money talks in this sport, so maybe it did. I don't know. But if that is the route they're going, then it kind of dissuades what I thought may happen, which was this rumor of Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia fighting on Netflix to replace Gervonta Davis. Jake Paul, if you guys haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know. And the rumor was one of the replacements was talked about and even offered to Ryan Garcia. Well, here is Ryan Garcia's promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, speaking on that rumor and what's next for Ryan.
It's happy Saturday. So I wake up to calls from reporters asking me about Jake Paul and Ryan Garcia. Let me just tell you why this fight is not going to happen. Ryan Garcia fights for DAZN, and Jake Paul fights on Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the bottom line. Golden Boy has a contract with DAZN. Ryan Garcia has a contract with Golden Boy. And that's just the way it is. I mean, this is business. You know, Ryan Garcia is probably going to rant saying, oh, you're keeping me from making money and this and that and fighting. No. You have to go by the law, by the rules. You have a contract with DAZN. You have a contract with Golden Boy. It just doesn't happen that way. So anyway, until next time, we'll see you Saturday for Vergil Ortiz. But again, Ryan Garcia's next fight will be announced by me, who he's fighting, and when he's fighting next. See you guys.
It always seems like when Oscar decides to address something with Ryan Garcia, that he's not only addressing us, the people, that he's addressing Ryan Garcia. He's like, through us, telling Ryan, no, you're not fighting Jake Paul, no matter how much you want to fight. That's what it seems like, is like, no matter how much you want to fight Jake Paul, you're not fighting him. I don't even think that was meant for us. I think that was him telling Ryan. And you even hear it there. He's like, oh, Ryan's going to say, I'm keeping him from making money or whatever. But in this case, Oscar is right. If Ryan is signed to Golden Boy and Golden Boy is exclusively signed to DAZN for, fight rights, then Ryan has to fight on DAZN. I think that's pretty reasonable for Oscar. I didn't know that Golden Boy was exclusive to DAZN. I didn't know that was a thing. But if that is the thing, then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there were pictures going out about Ryan as soon as his name was linked to rumors of the Jake Paul fight. He said going stealth. And he's got the Lamborghini. He's got the freaking bullets on the shoulder, the commando. I'm assuming the dog tag. Oh, my Lord, the dog tags. I'm dead. So those were rumors that happened. And again, you see a bit of the I don't know what you want to call it, the breakdown of communication between Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia, which continues to be a problem, it seems like. For one, I think it's a problem keeping Ryan consistently in the boxing scene, because it seems like he wants to do his own thing. He wants to buy himself out of his contract, much like Floyd Mayweather did with Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. I think that there's growing tension. There's always been tension there. I mean, there was tension in their Oscar Duarte fight where De La Hoya felt like he was kind of promoting Duarte over Ryan Garcia, and he, you know, it was a bit of a weird situation there, and then the crazy mental snap that Ryan Garcia had, and the entire Devin Haney fight, and everything is boiling up to a point where it seems like there's going to be an issue with maybe Ryan trying to stall out Golden Boy, maybe Golden Boy stalling out Ryan Garcia. I don't know, but as of right now, again, the rumor is Ryan Garcia, Marrio Barrios at 147. I don't even mind the fight. It's just a matter of principle in boxing. Like, how does he get a title shot off, coming off a loss to a guy that does deserve the title fight more because he beat Ryan Garcia? You know what I'm saying? So if they're able to get this fight, it would be a blessing for Ryan Garcia to be able to walk into a title fight off of the loss and have the title fight be against Marrio Barrios. It doesn't get better than that. I wouldn't say it doesn't get easier than that for Ryan Garcia. Honestly, at 147, it doesn't get easier than that to grab a belt. So I think this is a win-win for Ryan Garcia. I mean, it's a win for Marrio Barrios too, because it's a headline matchup. It's a big-time name, and it's not Devin Haney or Brian Norman Jr., so there's that. And you don't have to fight Rolly, who just beat Ryan. So if this thing goes down, I think it's a win for everybody. I don't know if it's necessarily fair that Ryan gets the title shot right away after losing to Rolly, but I want to see the best Ryan possible. It's at 147. We can't blame the weight. I want to see him locked in. I want to see the Ryan that doesn't come in with the reservations about being himself, but also isn't just full-on crash out. I want to see the best version of him as a boxer locked in once again, because if it's not now, it never will be for Ryan Garcia. If this thing is finalized and they actually agree to terms and get this thing signed, this is Ryan's opportunity to reclaim all the things that he was in the amateurs and coming up. The guy that has the fastest hands in that division, best left hook in the division, and is a better skilled boxer than you think. Ryan Garcia has an opportunity to reclaim it all if he can get this fight with Marrio Barrios. What do you guys think? Is it fair that Ryan gets it? Is it actually going to happen? Are Ryan and Oscar going to be able to get along long enough for Ryan to continue to peak in his prime? And does Marrio Barrios even have a shot here? I don't have those answers, but guess we'll find out.